Okay, so now we're on page 185. You've just finished the chapter on drawing wheeled vehicles. In fact, I think there might be one or two more pages in this chapter, but you've got all the basics of drawing wheeled vehicles in perspective now. And I thought I would do just a recap since the last video that actually opened at this chapter. And I'm using the perspective grid off of, it's under a couple sheets here. The perspective grid that's off of page 166, it's on the bottom. So if you wanted, you could actually trace over that grid or make a copy and then follow along and use the exact same perspective grid that I'm using here for this demo. So let's, usually when you start to do a drawing like this is much more akin to model building, as the text has been talking about throughout the chapter. And so usually I have a design in mind before I would take the time to start drawing it in this sort of detail. But let's just rough one out first, see if we can come up with something. And I'll just hit on the high points of the drawing construction, which is the most important thing I'm trying to communicate here in this book and in this chapter, and especially with this video. And design is a whole other book, so maybe we'll get lucky, maybe not. So I'm just gonna, let's just try, see what we get. So even though I know exactly what the degree is there with my ellipse guide, sometimes I just like to start freehand, make some adjustments. Like that rear wheel is the same exact size as the front wheel, because I'm gonna do a front 3/4, so maybe I wanna make it a little bit larger. So I keep the same degree, make it a little bit larger. So keep in mind, these guides are just for the perspective construction. It doesn't dictate your proportion at all, so feel free to modify them. There's my center line. I'll keep the width. Let's just draw through here a center line, and on my center line plane is there, and a couple of guidelines going to my left vanishing point. And you can see how much faster and simpler it is, of course, when you have a grid underneath. Accuracy goes up, speed goes up, so generally speaking, it's a good idea. Let's see, let's transfer this, where the wheel's touching the ground, let's transfer that and the height over to the center, and I'm going to draw, let's see, is that really the height of the wheel? Looks a little bit low to me. I think right about there is the right line. And let's just draw freehand in an ellipse there. It's a little bit fat. This is fairly slow convergence, so we're not getting a lot of degree change from this side to the far side and from here to the back. I think this is a 30. This is a 20. So we're only getting a -10 degree shift front to back. And across, I don't know if it's labeled, but I could check it. 40. So we're getting a 10 that way as well. So we're getting a +10 and a -10. And the reason for that is that they're almost the same distance from here. So if I say that this is 30, right, and we go this direction and we go this direction away, we'd expect to see the same degree change. Right, if we go this way at the equal distance, we'd expect to see the same thing. And we're about at the same position away, right? So that's why we have 10 on each direction. Okay, back to constructing the car. Let's rough in loosely the rear wheel location and the size. I made it a bit larger. Put it on the center line. Something about like that. Okay, and then let's draw the side view of the car. And I'm just going to block out a very basic shape just to get us started with something, and go through all the same steps that are in the book, which gets a little bit more complicated. Let's see, how tall do I want it to be? About 1.5 wheels maybe. Let's go a little bit more, almost up to 2 wheels. Okay, so that's my basic shape. And now I want to start to think about that's along the center line, but what's happening out here along the shoulder, along the sides. So what I'm going to do is combine basically side view with sections, X sections that go across the front, the top, and we're going to connect a side shoulder line across the center line back over to the mirrored shoulder. And maybe we'll also put in a 2-curve combo maybe. In fact, let's do a 2-curve combo here. Let's take and draw a top view on the ground. Let's do start narrow at the front. And let me take the position of my A-pillar at center, and I know the side is probably going to be, if I drew the side view here as well, where the shoulder was going to be, it's probably about there. So that's kind of the outward position of my A-pillar base, where it starts. And so if I go down to the ground and I want the A-pillar, let's say, to start in about this far from the exterior, I want my curve across the hood is going to flow into the A-pillar, up onto the roof line, and then down to the back. So in top view, I want to start my line here and then have it hit sort of tangent right at the A-pillar. Okay. Now if I knew how much tumble home I wanted, I could actually go in here and drop in a section and then draw left and right. And then there's the bottom of the car at center, and then here's the top of the car. We can just draw it flat for now. And let's see, if I had a side view of my windshield, of the window, let's say it's somewhere down in here, could bring that out. Where's the position? We go up, and it looks like I want it to be in at the base, about like that. So that's roughly the base of the side window, and looks like it's going to have a little bit of curvature across the top here. And then now you could set your tumble home angle. And once you set, so let's do something about like this. It's not going to be that extreme. And then a little radius, and then a little curve up to the roof line. So you can start setting these sort of template or these sections wherever you want, and that can help you to guide where your other curves are going to go. So there I know that my pillar line in top view here on the ground would go like this, and then it would go back to the back, and then I have to decide what's going to happen back there. I don't know yet, so I'm just going to let it go. Okay, so we could actually start to draw this now. Here's the height of the hood at center. Here's my wheel. My wheel well, of course, is going to be up a little bit and out to cover the tire. And let's see, here's my 2-curve combo. So I want to do a break between this. And what do we want it to look in side view, right? We can draw it over here first. Well, maybe I want it to roll out of this pillar, down onto the hood. And then maybe we want to exaggerate over. Maybe I want that line to actually exaggerate over the fender. So it's actually going to be like my ellipse for a moment and stick up above the hood. And then it's going to drop back down, go to my A-pillar. So this is my side view. You could draw it out here as well and then move it in to this line. And then it's going to be bending. And then let's just pull this down side view, down to the ground. Okay, let's say I want this side view along with this top view. So let's see what we get. So I'm just pulling my sections. This is where it ends, so I pull it out. This is the 2-curve combo, so I can go up. All right, and now I know I have a section here. I'm not following my guidelines that well today. Let's see. And you can start to draw across as well, because you know you're going to end up mirroring it. So what happens? First it starts heading up straight, and then it's got to be influenced by this guy. So where is that going to come into play? Well, we can go here, we can go across, then we can take, here's the 2-curve combo, here's the height, I can bring that over, so there's the position, and that needs to be like this ellipse. So just look at that ellipse when you draw here, because this is not that curved. It's really just going to be a little bit more open than this degree. And then here's the curve, and I could take that across, That'll help me to think about where that's going to go. And you can see I'm only drawing a couple little lines. And there's, yeah, looks like about like that. And then it's going to duck back down here. Okay, we could take that down to the ground. We could go over, hit our position, go up. There's our point. Okay, and then it's going to straighten out for a moment. And it's going to follow this curve. So you could really just look at that curve and draw it up again here, the angle, like this, up until it hits the base of the A-pillar, which is there. And then it's going to curve and go up into the roof. So that's going to head up like this. Okay, and then it's going to head down to the tail. Let's just go ahead and run it. Let's just run it straight back like this. Let's find the length at the back. Let's go out. Let's go up. And when you're drawing a car like this, or any object, you know, you can get all these hard points in, the points you've decided you want to lock down. And then you can always do overlays to add curvature, add details, radius things, and make adjustments. So don't worry about, you know, not getting the greatest style on the first time when you're trying to build. You're basically model building, like you're building this model in the computer. And now we could add a couple sections. I think I will tighten up my wheel now. Let's see, minor axis looks to be about here. That's going to be the tire. Like so. And there's my wheel. And let's give it a little bit of dish inward. Okay. And let's see, this one's not quite large enough. I'm going to go grab another ellipse guide. Okay, so here's a larger ellipse guide. And let's put that wheel well over. So what I'm going to do, because I know the side body is going to just bend inward a little bit, I'm just going to tilt that minor axis a little bit and cheat it and then pull it out a little bit to cover. That will allow us to see into the wheel well a bit here, and then towards the front it starts to cover the tire a little bit more. Okay, and then let's see, let's also put a fender, like a little flat on there. Let's see what size that was. This one. Let's go up a bit. I'm going to put a little, you'll see this on a lot of modern cars, this little mirror of the wheel well line. And that's where, let's say if this was the center of my rim, there's the section of my tire, and then sticking out just a little bit from there is that, just the wheel well, and so it goes straight up, and then it's going to get to there. So I'm just going to spin the page, add a little section through here, and then let's try dipping the section through here a little bit. So a little concavity through there, and then it's going to go and here have a slight convex section up to the center line. Because remember, the center line is actually lower than this little fender bulge here over the top of the front wheel. Okay. Now, if I was free sketching and just looking for design, of course, I'd be drawing the whole thing. So I'd be thinking about the car and the round, the whole thing. But when I'm starting to model build, I can actually start to just build one half, much like I would do in the computer, and then mirror it across. And then if I need to make adjustments for the styling, I can do an overlay. Let's go here. So if I drew straight out, that would be the position of the base of the windshield. Here it would be at center. So I can get a slight curvature here, like so. And all right, and then I'm out here, and I'm this high off the ground at this position. Let's pull that, based on this, let's pull that over to the wheel. So it's kind of just a mirror of this, but I want it to go out and cover a little bit more of the wheel. So this wheel, when it comes into here, the wheel well, it's going to go kind of inward a little, which makes this line straighter, and then this one curves inward a little bit more. Then we could find the height bring it out to our center, and then go forward and back until we hit that line. So this one's tucked in behind, this one's running down like that, and then it's going to be here. For now, it's just going to run down like that, and then I've got to get from there over to here. So maybe I want this to actually flare a bit, or maybe I want to pull that in even a little bit further. So maybe I'm going to imagine now that there's a little break line through here, and that's going to actually undercut further. So we don't have to go as far to get over here. But I am going to do make it a little concave through there. And that's blending the position of this two curve combo brake line coming down the front, and then here it is at the very front of the car. And I'm just going to leave it chiseled off. We're just trying to make a big basic car shape with all the technical perspective constructions. So let's see, do I want to go, we have an option here, we can go curved, right, and tangent at the front, or we could leave a little break at the center. In fact, we could leave a little bit of this influence of this X section right here. Let's take that concavity and run it all the way down. So we just see a little influence there, and then let's run over like this with a little bit of curvature to a point. Okay, and if I was going to do the shadow or the top view of that on my Z-plane, right here, it would look like this. Like that, that. Then the position here, right, we found the height, and we know where that front wheel well is coming down there in side view, but we know it here, so we can just go across. And there it is there, and it's straight out, and then it's slight concavity, like so. And then that would be going out tangent here, covering the wheel if it was top view. So it would look like this in top view. And maybe I want to tuck it in just a little bit. And then we haven't figured out what's going on with this brake line as it continues to the back. I think we'll probably give it a little Coke bottle shape here, and we'll taper it to the back. So I could take that brake line out of this top view and say, well, it's going to do, let's find the width of the rear wheel, front to back, and let's take it down to the ground, come forward a little bit. So now I'm drawing in my top view for this rear fender that we're going to put in, and that's going to be my top view line on the ground of a brake line that's running right through here. So what I want to do is mimic that line, but what does it look like in side view? Well, side view, it's kind of crossing the center here, going upward, and now you have to just look through your car and look only at the center line plane and draw that in. So it's going to go something like that, and so it crosses the rear wheel roughly, well, it crosses the center right about there, here at the front, so it's kind of an angle like this. And then I want to influence with this guy. So if you wanted to just put one section, is probably all you need. Right through here, go back over to center, go up, go out, and there is the position. And so you can decide what you're going to do with that. Also, you need to check where is it in relation to the, the window. So the belt line of the car right through here. Right, and that was right about at the same spot. So right now that tells me that this section through here is going to be pretty straight above and below. Now we could do whatever we want above and below, just as long as it goes through those 2 points. If you want to have this curve, if you want this curve in top view, and you want it to do this in side view, right, it's another 2 curve combo, and you just have to go with those points here and there, and then you make adjustments after if you don't like it. So that's going to do something about like that, and then it's going to curve, and it's going to point down into here. So it's actually angled quite a bit upward. And then right through here, they were basically, it was a straight line between there and there. And we had the base of our window here, and I'm just going to pull that window graphic up like that. So you can see this is getting a little bit more complex. I mean, it is all the basic section drawing things that we have covered in the book, but now you're sort of doing a lot of those two curve combos, a lot of those constructions simultaneously. You're doing them right on one shape, so the shape's getting more and more complex, playing with where I want the top of the windshield to go. You see a little bit of the curve of the offset, so if that's what it looks like in side view, that's where it hits my pillar, that's the curve. Okay, so let's mirror it over and we'll just see what we get, and then you can always do adjustments. Oh, I should probably let's draw a bottom line in here somewhere. That's probably leaving out of here. We could let it be influenced, you know what, let's just make it positive coming out of here and inward a little bit. Let's take, where's the height? There from my side view. I'm going to go forward a little bit, I'm going to go in just a little bit. That's going to be the section, and then I really want it to just be a full curve there. And then maybe that will allow us to come in here and put a little form relief like that, a little step. So